Well, I don't know if this is working or not. Looks like we might have a slightly better connection. Sorry about that. We've had to do a bit of rebooting. Missed the start of the race, so if somebody can let us know in the chat as and when if we have I'll do a quick sound check myself first. Okay, so it seems like people can hear. I have absolutely no idea what's going on with the connection tonight. We've changed any number of settings. So, yeah, we've got Backer joining us in the chat saying, good evening. He can hear me loud and clear and he's gutted not to be here, but it is what it is. Yeah, sometimes there's more important things than Formula 1 racing. And we've also got Mrs. Bold joining us in the chat, so we're totally out of sorts. I don't even know who's qualified where. What I do know is we've got a wet start to the race. The Taz has disappeared, so let me just join in and see if I can get the Taz back. Yeah, Taz doesn't seem to be working, so we're closing that, and we'll just stay with this. So, update on lap 3. So we've got Colin in the lead, and we've got Brandon in second place. So Brandon's obviously worked his way up through. If you did manage to catch any of the previous glitchy streams, you might have seen that Brandon didn't set a lap for one-shot quali, so must have worked his way through the sprint race. We've got Jetfish in third, who is right on the back of Brandon. Brandon's 3.2 seconds off Colin. We've got Spinotler, who's reserving in fourth place in the Red Bull, taking Brent's seat tonight. You see Spinotler the odd lock up here and there. If Colin wins, how low Brandon must finish for the title to be won? Good question, Richie. After all the technical details and the glitches that we've had tonight, it would be great if you can have a look at the standings, and if you could work that out and tell us in the chat. I will quite happily read that out, my friend. We've got Al in fifth, so Jetfish's teammate, just keeping up behind Spinotler. This track is going to dry out, as we saw from the first bit of the Taz, so we will see what happens with the track drying out. Looks like it's the rain is slowing right down as Al gets a great run on Spinotler there. They just seem to collide, and Spinotler is defending as Al comes through, and Al looks like he's still not giving up on this position. He's got past Spinotler, and Spinotler moves to the outside, and Al is through. Now Spinotler's going to make... Oh, he's got a bit of a lock-up on the inside. Oh, he's not letting Al have it all his own way tonight. The Mercedes is not rubbing with the Aston Martins, it's with the Red Bull. And Spinotler gets the job done. He's defended that position, and Al is stuck behind him. But Spinotler does pick up a 3-second penalty, the first one. We've then got Glassy, who is just behind. So Glassy in the other McLaren, Brandon's teammate, is in sixth place. We've then got Evil Master returning tonight. Looked like he's got good pace on the 1 lap pace in the dry. I think he was second in one shot quali. Obviously didn't see where he was in the sprint race. So Evil holding strong in 7th. Probably some of these guys are going to be running a dry setup as well. We've then got Volcano. RVL Volcano looks like he's got Yeast coming through on the inside. He does. So Yeast just no. Volcano takes the position back. Last of the late breakers as Volcano looks to defend that position. Yeast is going to try the switchback. Going to get that early traction. Does do. Goes to the outside. Volcano's not really got a lot to do with this. Is he going to defend on the inside? Probably will, as Yeast goes looks to go around the outside, just lets that break off, gets tight into that corner. That should be the job done for Yeast. Lovely bit of racing from these two guys. And now we've got Brian. So we've got KVK just sat behind these guys. Collins in the meantime has pulled out a 5.4 second gap to Brandon. Oh, as commentators curse, we've got Brian picking up a 3-second penalty there. And right behind Brian, we've got Luke, Collins' teammate, in the other Ferrari. As Colin sets another fastest lap. So obviously this track's going to start drying out now. This is going to be an interesting call to see which of these drivers decides to come off the Inters first. I presume everybody is on Inters. So we've got Higgsy, the first of the Aston Martins, that beautiful grey-greeny colour. In 12th place, we've got Fretwell in 13th. We've got Giraffe in 14th. We've got Quinn reserving in the in the Alfa Romeo. I was just watching something else then. And it looks like Quinn has just had a little bit of jump. That could be a little bit of screen lag from my connection. As Andrew, so Andrew and Maggot, we've got Andrew and Maggot in the 2 Alpines down in 16th and 17th after such a good run out last time. I think the last time I was on comms, Andrew and Maggot had an absolute fantastic run out. And then we got RPM Entity in 18th. So all of these drivers together, and then it just looks like we've got Westy, who's out on his own at the moment. So Westy must have had a bit of an incident, maybe carrying a bit of damage, don't know, because Taz is not telling me anything. So yeah, that's the field as we go back up. And Colin, as we spoke, Colin has taken the gamble. He's gone to the mediums. Brandon has followed. Jetfish, 5-second penalty for a collision with Brandon. Not quite sure where that was, because I'm sure that Brandon was already in the pits. But this is, and we've got a 5-second penalty for Luke for a collision with Volcano. Yeah, I'm not sure that these are all... I'm not actually sure that these penalties are all correct, because I'm sure that Jetfish and Brandon were nowhere near each other. But anyway, we will see. So everybody is pitted. Let's have a quick look at the tyres. As you can see, we're not all there. Oh, Spilotner and Brian have decided to stay out one more lap on those Inters. So have Andrew. So has Entity. Everybody else has gone to the mediums except Giraffe has gone to the softs, and Maggot has gone to the hards. So Maggot will be looking to take these hards now to the end of the race. That could be a great call from Maggot. If he can get those hards fired up and at the right temperature, that could be a really, really good call from Maggot. As fastest lap still goes to Brian, and if he's setting the fastest lap, I think it'll only be for a matter of seconds before Colin comes across. DRS is now enabled. Maybe Sminotler has called that perfect in terms of timing if Brian and Spinotler have set the fastest lap. But I don't think those mediums are going to go to the end of the race. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We will have to see. And of course, we could have a safety car. I don't know how the stream is streaming now, guys. If you want to let us know if it's still as bad as it was. It looks like it's toing and froing on my screen. No idea what's caused that this evening, but I'll have to do some investigation for next season. So Evil Master still in 5th. Glassy. Got a nice battle there between Al and Glassy for 6th place. Then 2.6 seconds back is Luke, who's got company by the way of Yeast, as Colin now sets the fastest lap. So the crossover has happened. Brian is coming into the pits as Brandon sets the fastest lap. So previous fastest lap was held by Brian. He's going to come out now, probably in a... Oh, he's going to drop some places, and those mediums will take a little bit of warming up as Luke's closing in. And Luke's got Yeast for company. As Yeast goes past Luke. Brian just spinning them out, as you can see in the front there. So Yeast is going to be right on the back of him now with warm tyres. Thank you, Mrs. Bold, confirming that all is good. Yeah, that's all that matters. As long as it's good enough, as long as we can have a little bit of a look and see what these guys are doing. Oh, as Yeast closes right in. This is a bit of close racing from Yeast. Yes, he's going to have another look through. No, looks like struggled to get the traction down there. Is he going to have a look on the inside? DRS is now enabled, and as I look at the front of these guys, I can see another little battle appearing in front of Brian. We've then got a 4-car battle, which is Evil Master, Minotler, Al and Glassy, all battling for that last the podium position. Brandon and Colin have been in an absolute class of their own this season. Brandon's managed to pull out 8 seconds to Evil Master, as Al is looking to go for a double overtake as he goes, oh, and there's a bump. I don't know whether there's some damage on there. Evil Master defends. Spinotler, is Al going to hang it around the outside? They look extremely close as Spinotler dives through. Al's looking at the switchback. Oh, and he gets tapped by Glassy. So slowing down from doing the switchback has caused him to brake a little bit harder, just catching Glassy out. And now Yeast has dropped back behind, and Brian. So this is turning out to be a 6-way battle. Great battling from these guys. And Luke as well. Then we've got a 2-second gap back to Giraffe. Volcano in 11th, Andrew in 12th. As Volcano, as I just mentioned, it picks up a penalty, and so does Quinn. Brandon sets the fastest lap. He's got that gap down to 5.9, so he's putting the pressure on Colin. Are these mediums going to go to the end of the race? I'm not sure that they will. Colin might be able to take him to the end after done 4 laps, so that would be another, no, 20 odd laps, definitely not. They're going to have to pit and probably put the hards on at some point. The hards might go to the end of the race as we're back on board with Yeast. So Yeast looking at the back end, as Jones would say, of Glassy as he looks to the inside. Ooh, Glassy defends. Yeast is going to have a little look anyway. Just keeps it tight. Glassy will have that corner. Oh, and Yeast looks for the switchback. Glassy leaves him space. Brian's just watching on, letting these guys have a bit of a battle. And Luke sat patiently just off the back of this. Maybe this will come good, just leaving that little bit of space in case there's a bit of an incident with these guys. Got yellow in sector 2. That looks to be, well, they've got going again, but it looked to me like it was a McLaren. As Yeast is now going to look to use the DRS on Glassy for sure. And possibly Brian. Is Brian going to follow through as Glassy defends? Comes back to the line, Yeast is there, there's a bit of touch in there. And Brian's having a look, he's thinking about it. And Yeast, Glassy has to give way, and it looks like Brian's going to come through. This is Premier Division for you. One slight slow down, and there's 3 or 4 drivers past you. Glassy's going to have to sit there and just compose himself and get himself back together, because he's got Luke right behind him for company. We're just keeping a little eye out on that battle between Al and Spinotler up at the front. At 7/10 is the gap between those two guys, down to 6/10. So we're probably going to see a move from Al at the end when they come on to the next straight. We'll have a little bit of a look further downfield. It's difficult to go and have a look at anywhere else when you've got this battle going on between these guys, as Brian picks up a penalty. It's raining penalties tonight again as we jump on board. So there's the move from Al on Spinotler. Clean move. Job done. Spinotler very, very late on the brakes. And Yeast is closing up as well. In 6th place in the Haas. Evil Master's managed to put 4.3 seconds into these guys. So this is, it looks like, at the moment, it looks like we've got Colin. Colin's coming up against some back markers, so I don't think this will bother him too much. They will be getting the blue flags. Looks like it's Maggot. Colin's going to be taking these mediums again. I'm guessing he's going to pit, possibly pit for hards at some point, as he starts lap 14. Little squirt of the ERS onto the straight. We've got Brandon 6.2, so it looks like these two guys yet again a holding station. Collins pulled the gap, and then Brandon manages to keep it going or close it in. We've got Evil Master 9 seconds behind Brandon, but having a great race. So podium for Evil if there's no mistakes. We won't stay on too long because we don't want any commentator's curse as he takes the curbs. And then we've got the battle going on. So we've got Al in 4th, Sminotler in 5th. Yeast has closed that gap right up now. He's going to get DRS. And then right behind them we've got Brian, KVK. Glassy's dropped off a little bit, so I don't know whether Glassy's just picked up a little bit of damage in one of those incidents, as these 3 up front really seem to be getting closer and closer together. You would think that this would bring Glassy back into the race a little bit, but we will see. Obviously, oh no, commentator's curse. Sorry, Brian. Brian spins it back round and will have damage, I'm pretty sure, from that. So it's a good job Jones is not here, or we would have probably had a bit of a laugh at that, Brian, to be fair, but very unfortunate. So I'm guessing in the pits onto the hards. Let's have a quick look back what we've got going on. So we've got Yeast now. Al's broken free a little bit of these guys. We've got Yeast up into 5th. That's got the DRS on Spinotler. So Spinotler's going to brake late. We know he's a late breaker as Yeast stays. Oh, Brian's retired. So Brian's not been enjoying that one. Brian's retired in the pits as Yeast comes now around the outside. If he holds it there, which he didn't, he's looking for that switchback. He's got a good switchback into there. He's going to go for it. They touch. You can hear the banging. Sminotler goes wide. That is a dangerous, dangerous place to be. Oh, as Yeast looks like he takes a whole load of track there. So we've got Richie saying that he lost it there yesterday. That first curb is very dangerous. Every curb would be dangerous for me, mate. And we've got yellow in sector 1, which looks to be... Is it a driver coming out of the pits? Is it one of the reserve drivers? Nope. So we'll stay on board with Yeast. He's going to get close, but I don't know, is he going to get close enough? Got Sminotler's ERS light is flashing, and Yeast... Oh, wow, that is really late braking from Sminotler. Oh, as Yeast just looks to do the switchback a little bit too wide and just puts one wheel on the grass. We've got a yellow coming up. Not exactly sure what that yellow is for, as Evil Master picks up a 3-second time penalty, but that's not too bad because he's got a 5.2 second lead on Al in 4th. Al's just managed to drop these guys now, so you can see that Al has got out of DRS range, so he's on for a 1.2 second lead on Sminotler, and the Sminotler's also got Yeast to keep him company. Looks like Luke and Glassy are having a little bit of a ding dong. So we'll just take a quick hydration break while we stay on board with Luke. Yellow in sector 3, which looks to be one of the... It looks to be... might be Giraffe. It might be one of the Williams. Let's put it in the wall in the last corner. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And back to the Yeast and Sminotler battle. Is it Yeast's turn to do the late dive? It is. Is Sminotler going to leave him room? Nope, absolutely not. Yeast leaving plenty of room for Sminotler there. Yeast would have had the inside line for the next corner, but Sminotler's traction was excellent through there. So, and Al will be really pleased to see that battle going on just to break himself away. Now 2.7 seconds, so he's going to be chasing down Evil Master, and we'll have to see what happens in terms of pits if they do. We've got Brian. Brian's joining us in the chat from the couch. So, yeah, you've earned a rest there, Brian. I do feel partly responsible. Obviously, commentator's curse. And again, we've got Yeast, got yellow in sector 3. That looks like another Williams. Yeast just can't get this switch back. He will get DRS here, but this is a really short straight to get DRS. But he's going to have a go on the inside, but we know that Sminotler's super late on the brakes. And they touch again. There's definitely going to be some paintwork job to be done after this race between these two. Great battling, a bit too close for my liking, but then this is the Premier Division. Oh, and Yeast picks up a penalty, so that levels them off. And this has brought Glassy and Luke back into it as well. So as we're on board with Luke now, and Volcano's not too far off. Oh, and Yeast touches. Oh, Yeast touches Sminotler. Sminotler spins. Luke touches Glassy. Glassy spins. Glassy spun on his own. Luke's gonna... They're staying out again. Nobody's pitting. Glassy's pitting. So Glassy picks up a penalty and he's pitting. He will be putting on the hards. Well, that was just crazy 5 minutes. And Higgs is coming through. 12 laps on the mediums. I think they're going to be pitting probably, I would say, around lap 22 maybe. So we've not seen much of Fretty tonight, but he's actually snuck his way up into 8th position, just hanging off the back of all these battles, keeping his nose clean. No penalties yet for Mr. Fretwell, so he'll be quite pleased with that in 8th position. We'll have to keep an eye on his progress as the next 16 laps unfold. We've got Spinotler down in 9th after that spin. Quinn up to 10th, I would say, because I think Quinn had quite a slow start. Higgsy just on the back of this, got a nice little battle with these three developing. I think Higgsy will be a bit disappointed to be down there in 11th. So we'll have to see where he goes from there. We've got Jetfish, who went onto the hards. So Jetfish is down in 14th. He went onto the hards, so he must have had an incident on those mediums and has gone in onto the hards. But that should be him now till the end of the race. Also Glassy as well. So all of these guys, if we have a look at the interval, gap to leader, yeah, so the guys have got a pit stop. Even on Spinotler, 36 seconds behind the leader. So pretty much this is how the gaps will play out as we go back to the interval. So Glassy just getting those hards up to temperature. He'd be disappointed with that because that was a good bit of battling going on. We've now got Volcano on the back of Luke, so after that little tussle, Luke may be carrying a bit of damage. Let's have a quick look if we can see. Both end plates are there as Entity picks up time penalty. Looks like both end plates are there, so Volcano is going to get DRS. Volcano will be driving in the Premier Division in Season 5 as a permanent driver, so proving that he's got the pace to mix it with these guys. Great clean racing. Luke lets him pass. Luke will be looking. We've got yellow in sector 3. That's another, I think that's another Williams. It looks to be a Williams again, so I think that might be Entity that spun. We shall have to see. So Volcano's just managed to squeeze that gap there on Luke up to about almost a second, 7/10. So Luke is going to probably stay in the DRS. So it looks like we've got one VDM brother in a battle for 6th, and the other has got Higgsy for company, who is working his way through in the Aston Martin. Yellow in sector 3. That looks to be Andrew having a tricky time. Andrew might be pitting here if he's got damage. He will. Andrew will be pitting for the hards. Don't speed on the pit lane entry. We've got Yeast in the pit. Volcano, Luke, Andrew. So we've got all those guys that have pitted, and presuming that they must have put the hards on. No, they've put the mediums on. So maybe they are given 2 sets of mediums because of the sprint race. So I've done a bit of a Glassy there, talking a load of rubbish. If they've got 2 sets of mediums, that might be because for the sprint race being wet, they didn't use their set of mediums that they were given for the sprint race, which means that they've then got 2 sets of mediums for the race, which now explains why Colin has gone on to the first set of mediums and everybody else is following. Let's see what Al does. So if we're right, Al will be putting another set of mediums on. He is, so that's what's happened. They've obviously got a free set of mediums from that sprint race, so that's changed it around a little bit. So they've gone inters to medium to medium. So putting on those hards at that first pit stop was unnecessary when you've got 2 sets. You live and learn. You live and learn. When Glassy watches this back, he'll be happy. He'll be absolutely happy that I've made a similar mistake to him yesterday. The sprint race, not only has it thrown everything out the window in terms of all of my connectivity, it's also made me talk an absolute load of rubbish about the tyres for the first half of the race. Got Brian saying, prime example why every race should have 2 sets of mediums. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. But it's the same for everyone, Brian, so we've all got to deal with it. So when are the guys going to come in and pit? Let's have a quick look. We've got Glassy and Luke that are back battling again. But Glassy has gone on to the hards. So I just wonder if Glassy might have not been aware that there was another set of mediums. Because why would you go onto the hards with only 14 laps to go at that time? 16 laps maybe. Yeah, so Luke's going to have a bit of an advantage on Glassy there as Yeast sets the fastest lap. So it looks like the crossover is there, but the new tyres are catching the old ones. Colin's not gone yet. I just wonder if is Colin going to pit? Is Colin going to pit? He's not. He's not. Is Brandon going to pit? I just wonder if one of these two is going to try. He is going to pit. So that means that Colin can now pit. I was just wondering if Colin would pit first, if Brandon would give it a go and try to stay out the whole race on his mediums. And I think Colin obviously waited for Brandon to move first. Evil is too far behind to interfere with that. We've got some huge gaps tonight, some absolute huge gaps. Oh, Evil's already pitted, sorry. Evil's already pitted, so Brandon is now going to be trying his hardest to push like crazy as Yeast sets another fastest lap. He's trying to catch Al down as Brandon on his one AirPod. Obviously heard us talking about him in the stream, giving us a bit of a... He might not actually be watching the stream with 3 different takes. So we've got Yeast closing down onto the back of Al. So it looks like these two might reunite for a bit of... as Yeast pushing on. He is pushing on. He's got that gap. Still 1.9, so probably... This is where the battle is at the moment. We've got Luke on the back of Jetfish. Glassy has dropped off. 1.7 seconds now. Quinn is also coming up behind Glassy. But I think Luke will have the run on Jetfish because Jetfish has done 17 laps on those hards. And Luke's only done 3 laps on those mediums. So I think this will be relatively straightforward for Luke. Just got to pick the right moment. Don't do anything too drastic. Lovely clean driving there from Luke. Going to try and get a good exit out of here. Should get better traction than those hards. Going to squeeze out all of that ERS. Gets DRS. He's down to 3%. he needs to be getting past fairly soon. Looks like the Mercedes are running really low wings again. They are renowned for it. Both Al and Jetfish seem to have a super top end speed. Luke's going to have a run here, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to do it safely. Trying to work out where Colin is. Colin, is he going to pit this lap? He probably is. As Brandon sets the fastest lap. Let's have a quick look. Colin will see that gap's come down from 29 seconds to 27. Still a safe distance, I'm quite sure. But will he risk it? I don't think so. I think Colin will pit this lap to put on that other set of mediums. Nope. Proving me totally wrong. So there we go. 27.5 seconds. We will see. Maybe Colin feels comfortable to take them to the end, or he's going to go for a set of softs. If he can drag it out for probably another couple of laps, be nice and easy on the softs. That might be his plan. Evil Master, third place. We've got yellow in sector 3. Looks to be one of the Williams, parked up somewhere. Not exactly sure where. It looks to be that they're in the pits, but they're not shown as in the pits. So something a bit strange there. Sminotla in 4th. Al in 5th. Yeast has got into that DRS. So let's have a look at the ERS. So we've got 31% for Yeast. And we've got 13% for Al. So this is going to be a battle that's probably going to run on now to the end of the race. Higgsy has done the same as Colin, as we've got another yellow in front of us. Higgsy's done the same as Colin. He's still out on 21 lap old. Colin's pitted. So Colin is in the pits. We'll just have a scoot back up to see where Brandon's going to come out. Colin's gone for the softs, so he just decided to stay out that bit longer, put the softs on. Going to have amazing pace at the end of the race. Probably will take the fastest lap as well. So we may just have a sneaky little look at the championship standings to see if we can work out where Colin and Brandon will finish if things stay like this. So let's have a look at championship standings, Premier Division, driver standings. So currently there is a 27-point gap. So if it finishes like this and Colin takes the fastest lap, I can only assume Colin took the point for pole position as well. So 43 points total. Brandon will take 30, so that'll be 13. So the championship, if it stays like this, the championship won't be sewn up by Colin tonight. It will run on to the final round at Brazil next week, if it stays exactly as is now, and if Colin has got the fastest lap. And ooh, Brandon's pushing. Brandon looks like he's pushing. Evil Master in 3rd. Let's have a check back in with these guys, Al and Yeast, as they come through. No doubt Yeast is going to try and get into that DRS again on the straight. Here he goes. Bit of a dummy. Now, Al shouldn't push too much here against Yeast because Yeast is an inter-tier reserve, so Yeast will get removed from the results, completely removed from the results, because he is an inter-tier reserve and not a full-time Premier Division reserve. So Al will still be securing that 5th place in any case, so there's no point battling with him too hard, unlike Luke, who has just been passed by his brother as Colin sets the fastest lap, 1:16.4. So Luke's just been passed by his younger brother Quinn. So there'll be a bit of chaos going on in the VDM house tonight. Let's hope it was a clean pass. We've got Giraffe up on the back of Luke as well, and Glassy's gone past Luke, so Luke must have had a bit of a moment there. So Quinn's going to be closing up. We've still got Fretty in 8th, just cruising through, having a good run, clean run. Doesn't seem like Fretty's had any particularly any troubles, and his teammate Volcano is now on the back of Yeast. So Al, I've missed it. I've absolutely missed it. Al has, not only has Al got past Yeast, but he's put 8 seconds into him. So Yeast must have had a bit of a moment there, pushing a bit too hard to break away from Al, and he's now got Volcano for company. We'll keep our eye on that battle between Luke, Quinn and Giraffe on those times, but for the minute we'll just sit here with Volcano because it looks like this is the closest 2 cars we've got on track. Has Colin got fastest lap? Yep, he's just set the fastest lap with a 1:16.2, probably about 9 seconds faster than my quali lap. As we get Higgsy picks up a 3-second penalty. We'll go to penalties in a minute. As Brian says, 3 things that are certain in life: taxes, death, and Colin and Brandon finishing 1-2 in any order. Yeah, fully agree with you, Brian. Not always, though, not always. Sometimes things can happen. Usually, not that I'm trying to jinx it, but usually when it's Colin, it's something to do with wheel disconnect. And Brandon, his AirPod falls out his ear. As Volcano's going to get DRS on Yeast. I think Volcano will probably be wanting to save this up now for... We're on lap 30, Colin's on lap 33. These guys are just on their 32nd lap, so he's got quite a good ERS compared to Yeast. Oh, Yeast got the same, as we've got a yellow in sector 2 and 3. Let's have a look who that is as we're coming through. I'm not sure who that is actually. The old mini-map's not been very kind to us tonight, as Quinn, or Luke will be pleased about that, as Quinn picks up a 3-second penalty. That might be the saving grace tonight. Or, conspiracy theory, Quinn's done it on purpose not to embarrass his brother too much. One or the other. Volcano gets DRS. He's a bit far back. He's a bit far back there. So let's have a look. Jump on board. Quinn got absolutely no ERS at all. Luke's got no ERS. Maybe the power generator's down. And Giraffe's still got quite a good bit of ERS on the back of this. He'll be looking for a good finish here. He could get into the top 10, which we'll be pleased about. It looks like Quinn's closing down Glassy. So is Glassy starting to struggle on those hards? He's got the young whippersnapper Quinn right behind him. Volcano's dropped off now off the back of Yeast, 1.1 seconds. So this is the closest gap we've got in the field. Colin starts lap 34. Quinn's going to get DRS here if he gets a good exit. Well, Glassy's got a great exit out of that final corner. Quinn's going to have to burn up those 4% ERS he's been saving. And he might get close enough. He might. No, looking doubtful. It'd have to be a lunge. No, not a move he's prepared to take. So you're going to have to save it up a bit more than that, Quinn, as Westy's left the session. I didn't see Westy DNF earlier, so apologies for that. Taking quite a lot of curb there, Quinn, but then I think Glassy was as well. And we've got Luke and we've got Giraffe, so we've got a 4-car battle for 9th place here. Higgsy 3.4 behind, but on the softs. We'll just keep an eye on that. It's down to 3.1 already. So with 2 laps to go, will Higgsy have time to maybe pull these guys in? It doesn't look too far. It doesn't look too far at all. So yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. Nobody can get close to anybody, it looks like. Yeah, Glass is doing quite well to defend on 16 lap old hards against the younger 12 lap old mediums of Quinn. Saving up his ERS nicely. Got Fretty sticking there in 8th place. That will be a net P7 when Yeast is removed from the results, so he'll be quite pleased with that. Volcano his teammate, so we've got the Alpha Tower is in 7th and 8th. Yeast be a bit disappointed with obviously something's happened between him and Al. We've got Yellow in sector 1, and that looks to be a McLaren. I'm not sure if it was a McLaren or if it was Evil Master. Sminotler has done 28 laps on... He's done 28 laps on those hard tyres. As Colin, who is on his final lap, he's going to come through and take the win as the fireworks crack off here in Mexico as he comes through. RPM Colin taking another win in the Premier Division. Faultless drive from Colin. We've got Brandon. Is Brandon out of fuel? Brandon is out of fuel. So Evil Master has come through. Brandon is out of fuel. Oh my goodness, that could mean that the championship is Colin's. So Evil Master taking 2nd and Brandon coming through on low fuel taking 3rd place. So we would need to do the maths, but I would think that might have just taken it as we look at the... I'll come back to that in a minute. We've got Yeast in 6th, Volcano coming through in 7th, his teammate Fretty in 8th. We've got Glassy finishing in 9th, keeping ahead of Quinn. Higgsy on those softs did manage to get Luke, or Luke had a bit of an incident, so Higgsy in 11th. No penalties have changed it all around, so Quinn P10, Luke P11, Andrew P12, Higgsy P13, and we missed the rest. So if Colin has got 43 points and Brandon has finished in 3rd place, I think that's 25 points. That will be an point difference. I think it still goes to the last round. I can't be 100% sure, but I think it still goes to the last round. We will have to see. 43, 18 points. So 18 plus 27, I think, I'm pretty sure Colin's just taken it by 2 points. Provisionally, I think Colin has taken the championship by 2 points. Sorry, but I can't, when I'm on my own and I've had technical difficulties all night, I'm not going to be able to work it out exactly. We will save the interview with Colin as the champion for next time around, as we try to go and have a look at the results of the actual race. So we got Colin taking the win, Evil Master making a return with a great second place, Brandon in third, unfortunate for Brandon running out of fuel there on the last lap, Al in fourth, Sminotler in fifth, Yeast in sixth, Volcano in seventh, Fretty in eighth, Glassy in ninth, Quinn in 10th, Luke in 11th, Andrew 12th, we've got Jetfish 13th, Higgsy 14th, Giraffe in 15th, Entity in 16th, Maggot 17th, Westy Reserve, who didn't finish, in 18th, and Brian in the Red Bull, now sat on the couch, also in 19th. So I think that's going to be it for us this evening. I'm sorry about the lack of technical difficulties that we had at the start of the stream. I've got absolutely no idea what caused that, and obviously when you're on your own trying to get everything on a sprint race, trying to understand one-shot quali, sprint race, then the race, yeah, just all went a bit pear-shaped this evening. But not for Colin. Not for Colin, who we are 99% sure that Colin has tied up the championship. I'll be updating the results shortly after the race, so we will be able to see the championship standings. Thank you for everybody that did join us in the stream and also contributed in the chat. We will be back next week for the final round, and the final round will be in Brazil. So we'll be back online. I think it's Fretty who will be doing Senior Division on Tuesday. It'll be the last round of Senior Division as we know it, because for Season 5 we are moving to a different setup, 3 paste-based tiers. So Seniors has been put back on the shelf, and we'll have 3 brand new tiers for Season 5. So thanks to you all, and wish you all a good evening, and I hope that your internet connections at home are far more stable and reliable than mine. Have a good evening.